best-selling author since 2001. 2001, best-selling author in the world. Staggering. Take a look. James Patterson.
When I write a murder story, it's fiction. This is real. Real people are getting hurt here. Unfortunate situation for a lot of people. I created Alice Cross, a women's murder club, but Alice Cross is not going to swoop in here and save the day. And unfortunately, neither is the federal government or the state of Florida or even Palm Beach County, which is where we're located. So the question is, what's going to happen with these people? Who's going to help them out? The best I can do is tell their story.
There must be some way out of here.
The most prolific writer of our time, now inspired to tell a different kind of story.
And the fire's still burning.
And the fire is still burning. There it is. We did get those pictures squeezed down into the bottom corner, so have no fear. We're still covering that for you. But Mr. Patterson, welcome. And also Tim Malloy. My goodness, a familiar face to News Channel 5. We are so honored to have you back. An award-winning, writer and director now. You've grown up. Did you know you're working with James Patterson now and you've made it to the big time?
What the heck happened?
He didn't know until just now.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, on a very serious note, you're working on this amazing project. If we could go to the full screen, you guys, I want to show everybody what they're working on. A new documentary. Mr. Patterson, you produced it and wrote it, and Tim, you aided him in directing and producing it as well. It's called Murder of a Small Town. The focus is an area just 40 miles from our studio where we're sitting right now, and an area, Mr. Patterson, you say is drowning in every way. What do you mean?
Drowning and on fire, honestly.
Right.
And it's been that way for many, many years. I mean, you know that Shannon and Tim knows it because you've been covering Belle Glade and Pahokee for several years. What got me into it was I gave away a lot of books out there, so I would see these kids and I go, what's going to happen to these kids? Yeah. It's a very tough area, 40% unemployment, a lot of violence, and it reminded me of my hometown, which is another town that's in trouble.
And so you're really, literally giving these people a voice, because when Tim and I, as reporters, we go out, we cover a story for the day. It's, like you mentioned earlier, typically a crime. You've been in Pahokee and Belle Glade, living there literally day in and day out for what, 2 years?
Well, yeah, a concentrated year if you really added it all up. Yeah, and met incredibly wonderful, powerful, inspirational people, and that was really the point of this. Yes, there are tragedies. Life is harder out there, but there are truly inspirational people living in our market. We should know more about, all of us.
And
that is the point.
Right.
I mean, the point of this thing is, and I think anybody that watches this will change their opinion, because they're going to see people out there and go, these are great people, and they're stuck in. It's a tough situation for them.
You invited some children to your home on Palm Beach. Was this your idea? I saw your work sprinkled throughout.
Mr. Patterson's idea.
Okay, so you met many of these children, and that is your greatest concern in all of this.
Well, it's certainly a big concern. It's certainly very dramatic. And when you see these kids in the film, you go, these kids are great. And it really brings home the point that we need to do something. We need to help as much as we can.
Do we have the clip of the video of the children visiting Mr. Patterson's home on Palm Beach?
Well, that's a different one.
That's not my house.
That's definitely not your house.
That's not my house.
I believe that's some video of, again, some of the crack houses that you visited.
And the thing is, I mean, years ago, these empty buildings were all kind of thriving businesses. I mean, it was never a wealthy area, but it was working.
So when these children came to visit you at your home, I watched the clip. They're saying magnificent things to you. I want to be. What were they saying?
No, we asked the kids, I mean, what do you want to be when you get older? And no hesitation. I want to be a cardiologist.
Right.
I want to be an entrepreneur. One kid, a little girl, she said, I want to write mysteries like you do. She said, I love them. I read them all, and it was, and there wasn't any shyness. There wasn't any hesitation. They went right at it.
And so when you talk about industry, and playing off what you said, no industry, do you see these kids breaking through and becoming doctors, lawyers?
The pathway out, unfortunately, is the stereotype, and it's awful, is either jail or football.
Right.
But in the industry, sugar industry, it's not necessarily their fault, but they're automated. There's not as many jobs. So who's going to bring industry out there is really the question. Somebody needs to step up and say, we believe in several generations of people out there who can build an industry and bring these people back up, because there's 45 to 50% unemployment.
Yeah, I mean, short term. I showed this film early on, one of the early cuts to some people in town, and the next day, and people cried watching this thing. And the next day, one of them called up and he said, friends of ours are getting rid of all their kitchen stuff, and do you want this stuff? So we just brought it. I mean, but that's the kind of thing. So all of a sudden, there's some very nice refrigerators out there.
Well, yeah.
But you know, and that's just a piece of what's possible.
And that's your point here, is to get the conversation started about what is possible, very literally.
What's possible, and that there are human beings out there.
And the conversation's getting started. This
You know, I mean, we'll
tomorrow
have
night.
whatever. Not that it isn't a good thing for us to deal with Haiti and some of these other areas,
Sure.
but it's right here, folks. It's right in our county. It's right around the corner.
And you're starting the conversation, as I aired, with your new piece, James Patterson's Murder of a Small Town. Tim Malloy's work sprinkled all throughout it. I noticed it the entire time.
Our
It's
director,
an amazing
our
piece.
co-writer.
Brilliant.
I was
really,
lucky to be part of it.
Really good stuff. It's riveting. You'll enjoy it. It airs tomorrow night on PBS
Yes, it does.
WXEL at 9 p.m.
It does.
Mr. Patterson, such an honor to meet you,
Thank
sir.
you. It was
Tim,
an honor to be with
so
you.
great to have
Shannon,
you back here.
good work, and watching all the other stuff you just did in the last
I
hour.
love your work. It's been a busy day.
Good
And
job.
now Steve Weagle's standing by because I think he has